So some successful examples. The Republic of Serbia is a great example. So the Republic of Serbia knew they had a problem with illicit fuel trade back in 2010. So they had subsidized heating oil that they suspected was being used as an adulterant in diesel. And they suspected that because the sales of heating oil more than tripled in a 3-year period. At the same time, while they knew that the number of petrol stations were growing and the number of roads or number of vehicles on the road were growing, diesel sales were not growing. So they were smart people in Serbia, and they said, okay, eliminate the subsidy on heating oil. As soon as they did that, the sales of heating oil dropped back down to their normal levels, but they did not see a corresponding increase in diesel sales. So what was happening, right? Serbia has an association of oil companies that keeps very good data on the volume of diesel sold in stations. And in 2013, they recorded about 1.4 million kiloliters of diesel being sold at retail stations throughout the country. At the same time, the legitimate supply to all those stations, the data was about 900,000 kiloliters. So there was a 37% difference between what was being sold to what was being supplied. Equating that to excise tax, it was over 200 million euros in excise tax that were missing. Equating it to retail sales, it was over 700 million euros of unaccounted for diesel that was sold in the Republic of Serbia. During this time, the other thing that was noticed was heating oil sales went down, but base oil sales jumped by 8 times. So if you don't know, base oils are a product that are used as a feedstock for lubricants. It's not meant to be burned. It's not good for a vehicle. So you could see the criminals, when you stomp out one problem, they're going to find another. There's too much money to be made. So what Serbia did was implement a marking program. And they implemented a program, as I described earlier, on a dilution basis, which is essentially a tax stamp for the fuel. So wherever an adulterant would come from, you'd be able to detect that. And we implemented this, started marking with our consortium lead on this program was SGS. They started marking in February 2014, and we saw immediate results. All of this information I'm talking about has been in the public domain in Serbia and through various announcements through the government there, but in that first year of the program, the commercial oil companies saw a 8% increase or 18% increase in diesel sales and 14% increase in petrol sales. The government at the same time saw an increase in excise tax collection of over $150 million. So there was a several times return on investment to the government here. Something else I'd like to mention about the program there in Serbia is the government of Serbia does not pay for the marking program. Serbia uses a pricing scheme similar to what the Philippines just talked about, in that the oil companies are responsible for paying. So you imagine at the start of the program, the oil companies weren't too excited about this program, but once they saw the return in the rise of their legitimate sales, they became big supporters of this program. And we continue to see the benefits of this program in terms of increased excise tax collection and increased legitimate sales with each of the commercial oil companies. So an example of an adulterant marking program. Kerosene is a common product that is subsidized in many developing nations. So there is one African nation which subsidizes kerosene, and they saw an increase every year in the consumption and demand for kerosene, which was far beyond what should be expected based on the population and the normal use of kerosene. So they knew they had a problem here. In this case, a very simple program was implemented, a simple, low-cost approach to mark the kerosene and then be able to detect if that marked kerosene is in fully taxed diesel. And you can see the results up here. Within the first year of the program, they're able to reduce the volume of kerosene consumed, subsidized kerosene, by 25%, and at the same time collect $50 million in additional excise taxes in that first year of the program. Again, a very high return on investment for a fuel marking program here. So it may sound complicated, all of this technology, all of these options, adulterant program, dilution program, what do I do? I really get frustrated because I just want people to do something, okay? Do something. There are multiple approaches you can take to combat this problem, right? So there is a former Supreme Court justice who made the comment that sunlight is said to be the best disinfectant. So the idea is shine a light on this issue, make it more visible. Talk about, hey, this is illegal, here are the penalties that are going to be imposed on you if you are found to be participating in these types of activities. That alone has a deterrent effect and can take a piece out of the problem here. But we really just want people to start and not think that this problem is going to go away by itself, because as I mentioned, there's just too much money to be made by the criminals here. So with that, thank you very much.